both male and female. And I'm honored to have Dr. Bukalu here with me. Emmanuel, you're very, very welcome.
Thank you. You got it right.
I got it very right.
Very right.
I had to make sure I don't mess it up, because I'm told names tend to have different meanings in different languages. So if I change it,
just a word can become bizarre at one point.
You know, you're very welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too, and the viewers out there.
Well, today we are talking about infertility.
Okay.
Now, as Ugandans, we tend to think this is something that is only related to women. And when you talk to so many different types of people, they think it stems from family planning. That if you take any kind of contraceptive, you're prone to fail to conceive. Or there are other myths that are related, that maybe if you take too long, that these people who love to focus on career first, that I'm first going to school, build my career, then start giving birth. That also can be infertility or witchcraft. A lot of people believe you can be bewitched for life and you will never have a child. Now, today we're here with Dr. Bukalu to give us a shine on what exactly is infertility for a start.
Oh, okay. Well, you started on a very good note, and I was wondering, I'm a bit balanced in terms of medical science and also in terms of the spiritual world. But I will focus much on the medical science because that's what we've come to talk about. Infertility, to begin with, is the inability for a couple to have a pregnancy when they have stayed together for at least 3 months. And meaning that we've had 3 cycles of ovulation, and these couples are not in distant relationships. They are under the same roof. They can relate together, and then they cannot have a conception for that period of 3 months. And usually this destabilizes many relationships, especially when people have wedded and they have been introduced, and all that process of getting into a roof that they can share with many pressures from the in-laws and so many other things that come along with delayed pregnancies. So you put it right, that many myths are around there, and I believe that the viewers that are looking at us today and hearing us from wherever, they should understand that conception is for 2 people. It takes 2 people to have a pregnancy, a male and female. The rest I will not talk about them, because for me, I'm looking at these 2 that was created in Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 and 27. Male and female, he created them. So away from that, I'm not comfortable talking about the other. Yeah.
You said something very interesting, the pressures.
Yes.
Now, and I've also had, allow me to begin a lot with the myths. I've had a lot of people say that once you have so much tension when it comes to conceiving, then you're prone to also have those inabilities to conceive. How true is this?
Yeah, it has a level of fact, and when somebody gets a bit depressed, a bit stressed and tensed up, there is a limitation in ovulation. There is a destabilization of a bit of your normal hormone flow, and definitely ovulation would be downplayed a little. And some of the things that actually we do for such mothers or tending mothers, especially those that are teenagers, not teenagers per se, but those that are 20, 24, 25, 26, that have just gotten into marriage, they are first timers. And we just give them, some go to the level of being given antidepressants such that we lift their moods up a little bit. And others, we just cancel them such that they lower down the tension, and then there is a bit of excretion of hormones that would reduce the ability for ovulation to take place. Those serotonins and cortisols that are quite common in terms when somebody is depressed, somebody is getting into stress, they really are a problem with our reproductive system, especially on the software.
Does that apply to the men too?
Very unlikely for a man. It's, because men are always ready to sow seed anyway.
Yeah.
And their seed is always ready. And that's why for us, we don't ovulate, we don't menstruate. So our seed is ready. Unless otherwise, but it's very uncommon for men to have that. Men would actually have problems with erectile functionality.
Okay.
When they are having problems with depression or stress that can easily reduce their ability to have an erection. The rest of spermatozoa formation usually is normal.
Amazing.
Yes.
Before we dig deeper into this, I would love to know people's perception.
Okay.
Now, I'm looking at a couple that has just gotten married. They're walking this journey of excitement, who want to have children, but sabi dabalongo.
Okay.
And we can't wait to make babies. And 3 months down the road, nothing is popping up. How is the response of this couple? Do they come as a couple, or it's still umchala yasoka again? If all is well, then if all is well, then the man also comes to the picture. How is the perception of the society?
In my practice, I've seen that women seek more of the support compared to men. And men always send their women gained about kebere, because cultural influence usually tells us that it is the woman who has a problem, and they never relate a problem of infertility or the cause to be on a male side as a male factor. So and also because it's women that are under pressure usually to have to carry, because men don't carry pregnancies. It's women who desire to have a pregnancy and move around with a bit of pride. Yeah, I've never seen many women have a lot of pride when they carry pregnancy out there. So and the pressure literally goes to the woman, and then so she has to seek medical attention. And at the end of the day, you can do cross-examination on many things, on hormones, on the structural, on the reproductive structures, and all of them are seemingly within the normal range. And then then that's when you opt to send for a man in order to have an analysis of some of the things that we also would look for a man as a male factor. So, but all in all, it's usually women that come walk into the clinics quite early as compared to men in much of the practice.
Can one say that there is still a lot of, should I call it stigma, when it comes to couples that are having this challenge, that you find their involvement in society becomes quite limited? Or have we evolved? Are we taking this up? Are we accepting that the world is changing, our bodies are changing, our responses to pregnancies and being able to actually make babies is also evolving? Because I'm trying to look at back then, you'd find that a person has the ability to give birth to so many. Can one say that there's a lot of stigma, or it has reduced? That once we're having challenges, we pull back from society, or are people being more responsive?
Yeah, when stigma would only come in when somebody's, the word seems a bit rough, ignorant, or unaware of what to do, and not aware of what could be really the cause of this predicament that I'm facing today. And away from that, a person should not really be stigmatized. But I've seen a lot of stigma for women who are coming to 30 years and 34 and 35 when they have not carried a pregnancy. It really stresses them out, especially when they desperately need it. For those that you talked about, those that are following their career pathway for development and growth, some of those would not worry until when they are into it. Before 35, they are not worried. But at 35 and above, when they really desperately need it, and they cannot afford an IVF, then you can see a bit of stigma. For the young couples usually, especially those that have gone through the right legal marriages and all these other things that we've talked about early, the pressure starts to come in, not even from the husband, but from those in-laws that are within their circles that can reach out and say to Akusasula and all these other things, It still happens in the current world.
True.
And when you dig deep into why they have come to the clinics, they will always tell you, Nazara wanga ndi bubi, ayagala kulabanga, funayo olubuto, wachiri oluvaamu naye nga weeruli. So I mean, it increases the levels of stigma. But the couples that are independent and not so much dependent on the opinions of others, they can always wait for 2-3 years. Some people are free to wait for that period until when they really think that now we are desperately in need, and then they walk into clinics. But others are patient enough. Yeah.
Wow. I would love to know if people are actually very okay taking up. There's a being okay to take up this journey, and you're going for fertility treatment or accessing boosters to help you conceive. Are these people willing to talk about it? Are they showing any zeal that it's very easy for her to, I'm looking at me, Christine, I have gotten my help from your clinic, and Genesis asks me about my journey, and I'm like, oh, I did fertility treatment. Are people that responsive, or are they still such a
that's in the corporate world, it is free. It is easy to talk about a few of those things because the high fertility rates are much more in the rural communities as compared to the urban settings. Okay. Urban settings, Genesis just told me she left home at 4. And I don't know her husband, what time the husband left, and when they reach, probably they're tired. And most of the urban communities, their entertainment is a lot beyond just having an affair in the bed. So the fertility rates in the urban settings actually somewhat are lower compared to the rural communities. And going back to the question that you posed me is, in the corporate world, it is a free world where people talk about issues. In the village, it is a bit more of, it's on the chest. And definitely the pressures that we've talked about that at times come from, because the neighbor is here, the in-law is here, and your heart is here. So all these can really triangulate all their pressures on one individual, and it's easy to identify. So corporate world, for example, you would really put you on the nail. Some people feel like the more they get economically independent, they should not really be bothered by whoever says what. So that's different. So the variation is quite much more. Economic standards, rural communities, urban settings, and all this. The elite are less bothered about who says what. But definitely the biological clock, once it sets in, somebody starts to feel enough pressure that they can't relax and sit back and not see themselves having an offspring of their own.
Sure.
So with that, I think then those are quite a number of myths that we can discuss about. I'm sure the viewer out there would want to see what is the cause of this whole thing, you know?
Sure.
And if there is a cause, is there a cure? If there is a cure, is there a prevention? If there is a prevention, then how best can we look through our reproductive process? And so in the childhood, you know, in reproductive health, we want to look at a woman. Am I at liberty to call you a woman?
Please, I'm a mother.
Okay, a mother. Please. So we want to look at the child from 0 age, because what can affect your reproductive system can be from birth. Okay, as soon as you walk out of your mother's uterus, we want to ensure that, one, you don't suffer from any viral disease that would actually affect either the gonads, and now we are looking at the testes, or the ovaries, because that is where the whole banking of the ova and the spermatozoa is. People that have suffered mumps and then they have affected their gonads, they have affected the ovaries, and they have affected the testes, there is a high chance of about 99% of having sterility or inability to ever ovulate and ever have a chance to have a pregnancy or a live spermatozoa from that kind of one. Wow. So we want to safeguard our children from such things that are seemingly simple, And in those days, they were quite common. You know, people would tie a bit of small ropes like this in their necks to avoid mumps from crossing from the neck, up here downwards.
Down.
So that kind of, I don't know, that traditional element, how people were believing in that. But mumps are causes because as early as they get us, they are predisposing us to sterility at one point in time. And I don't think that any other person would wish to have their child sterile at that age.
Sure.
So when we go, when we are going to the male factor, for example, what causes this in males? You people here have seen softwares, and I've also seen the hardwares. I'm seeing screens, I'm seeing lights and all that. But there is a person behind there that wants to make this image look so good.
True.
And that is the software that we are talking about. Even in health, we have the hardware, we also have the software. So the hardware is the visible thing that we are looking at. For example, the scrotum of a man. Okay, it has to, God created it when it's out, it's hanging, and it has the deltoid muscle. That is if I'm getting my anatomy, I remember my anatomy well, okay? So it helps the relaxation and also the contraction of this scrotum depending on the temperature. If the temperature is so cold, you will see the scrotum folding and getting closer to the body, such that it picks temperatures that are good enough for the spermatozoa that are being formed in the testes. If the temperature is so high, the skin of the scrotum tends to become elastic. Reason being that it doesn't want the unnecessary heat to continue accumulating where the heat is not necessary. Okay. Because heat alone in excesses can actually cause sperm to die. Wow. Okay, and that can be a problem, especially for men that are working in high temperatures, normal 24/7, 7 days a week, 30 days a month, and 366 days a year. That person is prone to having dead spermatozoa, and when you look at them under microscopy, you are doing a semen analysis, you would understand that even when it's forming sperm, most of them are dead.
Okay.
So if they are dead, meaning that the probability of you impregnating a woman becomes a little bit less.
Wow, that reminds me of something that was saying
Yes.
that men who love to put laptops on their laps when they're working should stop doing it. It's very dangerous for them.
Yes,
Yeah.
Because anything that would expose your scrotum to excessive heat and even the radioactive elements that I believe that there is a bit of radiation from the laptops, from the machine, and it will affect your spermatozoa with time if you are a routine user of such, and they call them laptops because they have to be on the laps. At the end of the day, they have not told you the biological effects that can come along. So that is and I'm glad you put it right, because some people would say I don't work in hot places, but 24/7 is on a laptop. I want to look at Genesis, and I believe that maybe she's also one of those that are using the laptops quite often. If she's watching, she should be now taking caution more.
Yeah.
And the other issue is the structure of this person, okay? If you have a prostate that is inflamed, I wish last time the producer used to give us some images such that people can appreciate what we are talking about. The reproductive system of a man is quite strange.
Yeah.
It has both the outward and also the inside structures. Some of them are visible outwards, and then some are not visible. They are much more known by the experts. Some of us are privileged to be looking at them. So if the prostate has a problem, maybe it is enlarging, maybe it is having inflammations, it can reduce, the prostate secretions can be minimal, and then that means it compromises the quality of the semen.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Because the ejaculate, as long as it has all the components, it moves and swims swiftly into the uterus of a woman. Once it doesn't have all the components that it has to have, including the carbohydrates that have to be there to accelerate the swimming of the spermatozoa, It only tells you that it will limit the motion of that sperm. And it means that he has brought it quite well. The only structure that I'm not seeing is the prostate, but all still we can start from there. Okay, that epididymitis is already an infection of the epididymis. Okay, that looks like a judge's hat. So the healthy one is this side, the inflamed one is already the other side. Okay. And once it is inflamed, it is a factory, somewhat storage. Okay, if the factory is having a problem, that means the manufacturing system is getting shut down. So you see the ropes that are moving up there. And if that rope that we are talking about, the vasa deferens, if it has a structural defect, if it is blocked, it means that somebody cannot have sperm moving from the testis upwards. Good, that is a better picture. That is where that arrow is where the prostate is. If it swells and it starts to block the urethra, you see the urethra passing through it, the prostatic urethra. If it is blocked, meaning that the sperm cannot cross through the prostate to get through the penile urethra and into a woman. Okay, so that compromises the quality of our spermatozoa. And that's when you see people ejaculating, but they don't have semen, they don't have spermatozoa, but the semen has come out. Okay. And when you examine, the sperm is not there. So you also look at, some people have problems with their urinary bladder. Okay. Okay. And at times when they're ejaculating, there is a mix between urine and sperm. That also compromises the quality of our spermatozoa, and that person can have a problem, especially if it's a male factor that we are talking about. So those are the structures that we are looking at, mumps, and then and others that we call varicocele. Okay, they are veins that drain. They drain from the scrotum here and also from the testis. Once they are swollen, they are compromising drainage, and that means the temperatures at that time at the scrotum is a bit higher than normal, and that means that somehow we are going to frustrate the formation of the sperm. Okay. So anything that compromises that is going to really compromise our good quality of sperm. Wow. And fertility. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll take a very short break, and once we come back, Dr. Bukalu will be giving us more about what are those different causes. We've gotten a chance to know what can inhibit a man to be able to produce a quality sperm or even actually have sperm. So right after the break, we'll look at the babies.
Bethany TV for health. Exciting news for all viewers of Bethany TV. Bethany TV, the premier health TV channel in Uganda and Africa, and also your favorite TV station, is now on Star Times. You can now watch Bethany TV day and night, weekdays and weekends on Star Times, channel 271. Catch your favorite programs on health, wellness, entertainment, and so much more. Bethany TV is also available on free-to-air, GoTV, YoTV, Airtel TV, and Afro mobile apps. Not forgetting online via our website www.bethanytv.ug and social media platforms at Bethany TV UG. Bethany TV for health.
Child health and well-being, the foundation for a bright and promising future. Join us for exciting episodes aimed at optimizing our children's physical, mental, and emotional health with our team of experts, including pediatricians, nutritionists, and child psychologists, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Bethany TV.
Bethany TV for health. Are you looking for a platform to advertise your business and boost your sales? Bethany TV got you covered. Take advantage of our introductory rates and maximize your leverage for brand awareness, advertising, product launching, live coverages, activations, and so much more. For booking and more information, contact our sales team on 0785 576 269. Bethany TV for health. Showing on Bethany TV. Fertilization is never complete until the two haploid nuclei come together, combine their chromosomes into a single diploid nucleus. When the two chromosomes meet, they form a tiny living being that is a zygote that entirely depends on its provider for survival, and that is the mother.
Yes, I've been to the theater 5 times. And all of them have been different.
Welcome to this exciting, informative, and mind-blowing show, The Journey to Motherhood, with Teacher Zita every Saturday, 9 p.m., only on Bethany TV for health. Showing on Bethany TV. Bethany TV.
Yes, welcome back. It is still Healthy Morning and we are looking at infertility. Now we're looking at both female and male. So some people might be saying, we rarely give concern or understand exactly those different causes that we could be able to actually prevent. Now we talked about small things like having your laptop sit on, using your laptop, or today, no table, let me chill on my bed. You've put the laptop on your body, and because you need to type, close to your areas of reproduction, and you're going to have challenges. So, Doctor, you were taking us through. Maybe we can just summarize a bit.
In summary, for example, men are hunters. They keep fighting. When we were children, you would even fight with your brother on issues as small as bread. So there is a probability of getting prone to injuries, and then you get what we call a testicular torsion. The testis twists like that. We had a rope. We were talking about a rope for those that have been following.
Yes.
And that rope, it can twist like this, and then definitely once it twists, it has a complex of blood vessels, a complex of the tube that passes, the spermatozoa passes through. So once it twists, it means it's going to have a blood shutdown for the lower segment, and also the drainage is not reaching upwards. So you're going to have death of this testis at one point. And then definitely somebody will have a problem with the manufacturing of some of those spermatozoa. And there is also something that is quite uncommon though, and where sperm start to eat themselves up. Okay. Wow. It's like an antibody or an anti-sperm antibody, it starts to destroy itself up. It's an autoimmune challenge. And once such men are having it, it becomes a complex, because it's even difficult for a health worker to think about such a problem. So spermatozoa can start to destroy themselves. And some of these also can be found in women, the anti-sperm antibody, that a man releases spermatozoa and then they are just destroyed in the vaginal tract. And they never cross over through the cervix, and somehow there is extreme death of spermatozoa. And when you do a swab, a high vaginal swab, you're finding all the dead spermatozoa within the posterior fornices of these women, and then probably you cannot have anything much to do about it. So when we look deep into the male factor, you can understand that they are quite common things now. And a person would deny the fact that even moving on bumpy roads like this, I don't know, I don't want to sound political, and bumpy roads, as soon as you hit your scrotum for quite a long time, and you're predisposing yourself to such pressures on your scrotum, it can easily compromise your sperm quality. So I don't want people to sue government for
I'm actually looking at a border guy who is riding without even minding the potholes, and they're just hitting, and he doesn't know what he's doing to his body.
But they will tell you they have more children than us but definitely, I don't know, it could be the other story you've been telling me off air, that somebody is producing on their behalf and they think that it's their own children.
Yeah.
So away from that, we can always have a mitigation. Even STIs, okay? STIs, chlamydia infections, gonococcal infections that can easily block that tube. If the gonococcal infection can block a urethra, it's very easy. If it descends into the scrotum and the vasa deferens is inflamed, it's easy because that tube is so small. The lumen in there is very small. So it can easily block that, and then definitely you're going to compromise the transportation of your spermatozoa upwards. So STI prevention now we are going to is one, we need to treat STIs as quickly as possible. If you can prevent them, the better. Because STIs, it means they came from a sexual related activity.
Sure.
Once it's not there, most likely you're not going to expose yourself to it. And two, immunization. In some countries, they vaccinate against some of those viral infections like mumps. And maybe in our world today, we are not doing it in our EPI, in the expanded program for immunization, currently under the routine immunization. But out there, they can always find ways of having to vaccinate some of these children against that. And ensuring that we can also try as much as possible to avoid any outbreaks of mumps as much as possible, such that we don't expose our little ones to very highly tragic virus like that.
Sure.
It can easily compromise this the fertility of somebody as they grow, and they never know that probably that is what could have caused it. And the other issue is to avoid fights for us men. As much as possible, try not to fight with your wife, try not to fight with your peers, because somebody can easily hit below the belt. And
as the ladies, we've been told that when a man is trying to take advantage of you, that's the first area you go for. And
it is extremely painful. I want to assure you that no man can proceed with the pain, because that is the source of his energy when he wants to maybe sexual assault a woman. And once they are tampered with, the whole morale is lost, you know. And I believe that don't kick your husband, kick the enemy, don't kick your husband. Okay, because I mean you need the spermatozoa with time, and it's you who hit the factor and shut it down. So all these are things that we really need to take advantage of and understand. The treatments of STIs are different compared to what the causative microorganism could be. And then definitely if it is a testicular torsion, for example, if it is an acute pain on the scrotum, you need to first understand what have you had in a history of injury, and if it is there, please go to the health worker such that they undo the twist. Otherwise, in a very short time, your testes are starting to die. If it is the other thing that we talked about, the spermatocele or the varicocele that is there, the swollen vessel that is draining this the testis, usually we do an operation and then we try to repair that vessel, because the way you see varicose veins on the legs of some women, especially pregnant women, you see veins moving around their legs, the lower limbs, and then like that. So such are the same. They can also form in the spermatozoa, in the areas of the testis, so it can easily compromise our quality. So once we repair some of those things structurally, if there are hormonal issues that a man, have you seen men who behave like women?
Yeah.
And even their voices are small, even the way they behave like you, and some of them even have no beards at all, meaning that their testosterone, the hormone that makes them a man, is very low. And once you notice that, then you try to help them to improve it and ensure that they are safe. So the mitigation is dependent on the cause.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Just a sneak peek on the side of the women. Are there certain things that we can be able to do to support our men, especially if a man is having challenges or it's only psychological, that all I have to be is a supportive woman, or there's certain environments that I can create to be able to, how should I put it? I'm looking at a man who can produce sperms, but they seem not to have the zeal or energy to swim. Are there any things that I can do as a woman to support my man to be able to achieve?
Yeah, one, we need to factor in the elements of diet.
Okay.
Okay. In those days, men used to eat a lot of nuts, sim. They used to eat a lot of pumpkins, and then the seeds for the pumpkins, which have very high levels of zinc, and they could help us in formation of high quality spermatozoa, and the swiftness also therein, and also treating the infections that, for example, the prostatitis, in case the prostate is inflamed, such that it is able, and the seminal vesicles as well, such that each component of the semen exists where it is needed. Once it is compromised, then the quality, either the spermatozoa is the morphology is good, the structure is good, but maybe the fluid in which it swims is the one that is small. Okay, in terms of volume, in terms of quality. So once you notice that, we need to understand where is the problem. If it's the prostate, treat the prostate. If the seminal vesicles are having a problem, then we need to treat the seminal vesicles. And then if it is diet that you need to improve, then diet. For some of us need to keep eating groundnuts and keep eating sim and keep eating, and that is easy. We know we have all of them across the whole country.
Yeah. From
Kavale, where you come from, to Rwanda and to Kabong up there, these things are existing.
Yeah.
So people should not really have to worry if it is a dietary issue. And you just need to know what to eat and how often you need to eat them. And then consult a health worker. Because usually when it needs some artificial assistance, we do some bit of technology that we assist your spermatozoa to swim quickly and swifter, and then they get into where they have to get. Amazing. And you're safe. Yeah.
Wow. Our time is well spent,
yes.
But I know there are certain few remarks or words of wisdom that you would love to pass over to our wonderful viewers, and be able to utilize this 2024 to put a smile in their houses. Yeah,
if it is a child you're looking for,
yes.
Today is fast. So you have 12 months to spread through, so plan well and know your ovulation cycle, because if you don't know your menstrual cycle, most likely you're going to miss your ovulation days. So if your cycle is 28 days, your ovulation is most probably between the 12th day to the 16th day. And usually that's the normal for those that get a single period every month, meaning that you are within the ranges of 28 days to 30 days. So you are within the range. So count 1 day from your menstrual period, the time that you flow, that is day 1, and then your ovulation is going to come between day 12 from the start of the counting, then day 16. So those are the days. If you are not having sex for fun and having sex that is programmed for fertilization, that is the right period. Otherwise, if you miss that cycle, you're going to wait again for another month, and then you would start cursing your wife. And as soon as we cross to May, most likely your pregnancy is going to be postponed, and delivery will be 2025, which you don't want to see. So those are the things that I want to speak about. And taking health as a very big asset for you who is listening to us and seeing us, because without health, wealth is useless. Yeah. Sure. So that's what I can say. And also prayers. I believe that people have been prayed for that have failed us in the medical world, and they pray for them and they get pregnancies on issues that are near impossible in the medical world. Sure. So I don't want to compromise the quality and the omnipotence of God and His abilities to change situations.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
You're welcome.
It's an honor to have you on health focus today?
I'm much humbled to be the first to be present here as a health worker in 2024.
Yes.
It's a big opportunity to me to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much for keeping it here at Healthy Morning. And I know there's quite a lot that you've learned. There's an eye-opener that you have been able to pick up today. And I know there is so much that will be coming. Now, do not go away. We are yet to have Be Hopeful, where we inspire you with so many different success stories, and you get to know that you're not alone in any given situation. So back to the studios in just a few with our wonderful Winnie Mbavazi, sharing with an extraordinary guest. And I know there is so much once you stay on Bethany TV that can impact on your health. A beautiful morning.